The Tiny Princess. Prince Arthur preferred the quiet corners of the castle archives to the noisy banquet halls. Surrounded by ancient books and soft dust motes, he searched for something meaningful. Hidden behind a stack of faded tapestries, a small wooden box caught his eye. It was carved with delicate leaf patterns and sealed with a simple brass latch. Arthur carried the mysterious object to his favorite wooden desk. Under the gentle flicker of a single candle, he carefully wiped away the remaining dirt. As his fingers brushed against the brass latch, a soft clicking sound echoed through the silent room. The lid slowly lifted on its own, casting a warm, golden glow across his face. Leaning in closer, Arthur gasped at what lay inside the velvet-lined interior. It was not a jewel, but a tiny, living princess, no larger than a teacup. She rubbed her eyes, smoothed her green dress, and looked up at the giant prince. Instead of screaming in fear, she smiled softly, her voice sounding like a tiny, ringing bell. The tiny princess introduced herself as Ella, explaining that her kingdom had been frozen in time to protect it from a great storm. Arthur listened intently, leaning his head on his hand. Her voice was incredibly small, but her words carried immense courage. For the first time in years, Arthur felt a spark of true adventure.
Even the smallest voices can summon the strength to protect their home.
Eager to understand the mystery, Arthur carried the box deeper into the archives to find Julian, his wise mentor. The old scholar looked up from his massive ledger, his jaw dropping in absolute disbelief as he saw the tiny, living girl. Julian quickly adjusted his spectacles, his scholarly curiosity instantly replacing his initial shock. Julian unrolled a dusty, ancient map that showed a hidden miniature valley deep within the Whispering Woods. He explained that Ella's home could only be found when the moon was perfectly full. Ella looked at the map with hope, realizing she finally had a chance to return home, while Arthur promised to guide her there. Arthur prepared for the journey with careful attention. He lined his sturdy leather satchel with the softest velvet cloth, ensuring Ella would have a safe and comfortable seat. Ella watched him with immense gratitude, realizing this young prince truly cared for her safety. Together, they braced themselves for the long trek ahead into the unknown woods. The next morning, they entered the Whispering Woods, where towering oak trees filtered the golden sunlight into a soft green canopy. The air smelled of damp earth and wild moss. Ella sat comfortably in the satchel pocket, her eyes wide with wonder as she looked at the giant ferns and massive roots that shaped this unfamiliar, oversized world. By late afternoon, they stopped to rest by a crystal-clear stream that bubbled softly over smooth stones. Arthur gently placed Ella on a mossy rock and offered her a single wild blackberry. It was as large as her head, making them both laugh. As they shared the simple meal, their unusual bond grew much deeper. As night fell, the full moon rose high above the canopy, bathing the forest in a brilliant silver light. Arthur reached the center of the Whispering Woods, exactly where Julian's map had indicated. The air began to shimmer with gentle magic, revealing a hidden pathway lined with glowing white flowers that led down into a beautiful, misty valley. Arthur knelt down by a massive tree root, where a tiny archway woven from glowing silver vines appeared. This was the entrance to Ella's home. A sudden wave of sadness hit the young prince, realizing their short journey together was coming to an end. He looked at his small friend, grateful for the joy she had brought into his lonely life. Ella stepped toward the glowing archway, but paused, turning back to face the prince. She walked over to his hand and gently pressed her tiny palms against his finger. She thanked him for his kindness and bravery, promising that she would never forget the giant prince who had saved her. Arthur felt a warm tear touch his eye. With a final nod of gratitude, Ella stepped through the silver archway. The moment her foot crossed the threshold, a ripple of warm magic spread across the entire misty valley. The tiny, frozen structures built into the tree roots began to shimmer, shedding their icy layers as the ancient protective spell finally dissolved. The hidden valley burst into brilliant life before Arthur's amazed eyes. Thousands of miniature windows lit up with warm lantern glow inside the hollowed tree roots. Tiny people emerged into the miniature streets, cheering joyfully as they welcomed their princess home. Arthur watched the spectacular tiny world come alive with a breathless smile.
Oh,
Before joining her people, Ella ran back to the edge of the archway. She placed a tiny, glowing white flower seed onto Arthur's open palm. She called out that the flower would always connect their two worlds. Arthur smiled gently, realizing that even the smallest person could leave the biggest impact on someone's life. Arthur took a deep breath and closed his hand gently over the precious seed. He looked down at the tiny, bustling kingdom one last time and whispered a quiet goodbye. Turning back toward the path, the young prince walked through the silver mist, no longer feeling the heavy weight of his former loneliness. Days passed after his return to the castle, but the memory of the tiny princess remained vivid. Arthur found a beautiful ceramic pot and filled it with fertile earth from the castle garden. Sitting by his sunlit window, he carefully placed the glowing seed into the soil, hoping the magical bond would truly blossom. That very evening, a brilliant white flower sprouted from the earth, its petals shimmering with the same gentle magic as Ella's valley. As Arthur watched in amazement, a tiny, glowing trail of light drifted out of the blossom and floated toward the distant woods. He smiled, knowing their extraordinary friendship would last forever. Following the drifting speck of light, Arthur noticed a faint, shimmering trail connecting his window directly to the distant, whispering woods. The glowing flower on his ledge hummed with a gentle, comforting warmth. He realized he was no longer a lonely prince trapped inside a quiet castle, but a guardian of a beautiful secret. Julian walked softly into the room, stopping instantly as he saw the magical white blossom radiating light. Instead of asking endless questions, the wise old scholar simply smiled and placed a warm hand on the prince's shoulder. They stood together in the quiet evening, watching the gentle, magical light illuminate the old stone walls. From that day on, the young prince found joy in his royal duties, knowing that true magic existed in the most unexpected places. Though Ella was far away in her miniature valley, their extraordinary friendship remained perfectly alive. The glowing flower continued to bloom, a beautiful reminder that even the smallest encounter can change a heart forever.